And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Comics Corner, the return. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but hey, Larry, you're one of my top 300 favorite comics in Florida. So
Wow,
just
wow.
got the list
Wow, thank you
this
so
morning.
much, Jordan.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I had to get you on here, man. No, I always wanted to talk to you, man. I've known you now for a few years. You've been doing some great stuff these last couple of years. Let's start at the beginning, man. How long you been in the game of comedy?
Oh, it's gonna be 6 years in September. So yeah, a little over 5 years. I've been going. The last couple of months have been awful though, since we haven't had shows. But like,
Mm.
feels like I'm like kind of back, going back to the beginning. But yeah, it's been almost 6 years. September will be 6 years.
Yeah, how would you do? Did you have a lot of stuff booked up? Or you missing out on some stuff right now? How is it? You feeling that itch to get back on stage?
Oh yeah, I definitely feel the itch. I had a bunch of shows canceled. Had a lot of shows I was really excited for, that we were really promoting and getting ready to go, and they all went out the window. So I've been spending a lot of the time writing and kind of getting some new
That's
stuff
good.
ready, so that when we do go back, I'll have some new material and whatnot.
That's good. At least you're using this time as an advantage now. Do some writing. That's good. Good to hear, man.
Yeah.
Well, what made you decide 6 years ago to finally hit a stage to do an open mic or whatever? What finally made you decide to do that? Because you didn't do it at 18. You did it when in life.
Yeah, I know. It was like, well into my 30s, I did that. Basically, my friend and I have been writing jokes back and forth to each other for like many years. And then we always talked about, one of these days, one of us is going to just try it, just get on stage and try it. And I've always been a huge fan of stand-up comedy and always kind of had an interest. I never really even knew that I wanted to try it, but I was like, once we started writing the jokes, I was like, yeah, I got to go try to do this one night. And if I fail and I bomb, whatever. It's just kind of like a bucket list item. But it went pretty well the first time I did it, and there was people in the crowd that owned different comedy clubs and produced a lot of different shows. And it kind of snowballed from there. I was able to just kind of regularly get shows. After my first night, like really started hooking up with different people to do some shows. So it's been a lot of fun.
Where was the debut? Where did you start off at? What was your first gig?
Um, it was at Off the Hook Comedy Club.
Okay, same here.
Uh, yeah, it was when it was in the Fort Myers location.
I'm old
And
school. I'm Marco Island, baby.
no, yeah, because I remember seeing you open for Mick Foley there a long time ago too. Before I think we were even friends. But yeah, so that was.
I remember you in the crowd. I said, one day, me and that guy, we're gonna be buds. I can just
You
tell.
remember I was sitting on the right hand side in the stool, like towards the back.
Hey, third row in, four to the right. Yeah, exactly. I remember.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God, I can't believe you
Yeah.
remember that.
Same hat. You were wearing the same hat that night. Actually.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So, so that's where I started. But my home club is Laughing Comedy Cafe, and I'm there pretty regularly, and do whatever other shows around town as well.
So, what inspires your comedy, man? Is it your life turned up? Is it just crazy stuff? Like, well, what inspires you? What makes you write?
I'm going to answer that by going back to what you just said earlier too, about how I started kind of later in life, and I thought about that, about how like a lot of people start in like their late teens, like 18, 19, 20. They're starting, and I thought back to when I was that age. I'm like, what would I have written about? And a lot of people get on stage at that age, and that's great. They're trying to work out these new things, and some of them are terrific. But I think life experience really, is the foundation
More to
for.
talk about, yeah.
Yeah, and like I think everyone. Here's the thing: everyone is unique. Everyone has their own life experiences, and you just have to find a way to make that funny. And so my career, aside from doing stand-up comedy, I've been doing social work for many years too, like almost 20 years. And so I've seen a lot of crazy things in my life, and uh, you know, starting comedy in my late 30s basically was like, I had already been married, divorced. Thanks for changing the subject. Married, divorced, um, adopted kids. I've been in punk rock bands, all these other different things. I've worked for a living for many years, and so I kind of had a lot of life experience that I think the comedy crowd can relate to some of these things. Whereas if you're 18 years old and you get up on stage, these people have been through a lot of stuff that you've already been through, and it's kind of like, what would I write about? But I try to, I think my material's kind of dark, kind of bizarre at times. Granted, I talk about the regular family stuff and everything, but I definitely think I have my innuendos are about stuff that people really shouldn't, or they should joke about it, but like that people sometimes wouldn't often joke about, and I'm kind of proud about that. So,
Would you say you're a clean or dirty comic? Like, where would you put yourself on that scale?
well, I think I use a lot of innuendo. I talk about a lot of risque things, I guess, but I don't use a lot of vulgar words at all. If uh, hardly any. In my set, maybe a couple of swears throughout the whole set. If you think about the stuff I'm talking about, it's pretty dirty. But I don't use a lot of like crazy profanity or vulgarity. It's a lot of
Do you
innuendo.
do you drop the F word?
Like maybe twice in the entire set. So
I like that.
when I'm
It
when
gives
I'm
it more
featuring and
impact.
stuff. What?
What? Oh, no, I'm just saying I like that sometimes. It gives it more impact when it's just once or twice out of the whole act. McFoley, not to name drop. No,
Yeah,
he only does it once, if that. So.
yeah, 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 absolutely. And it's like, and every other word being the F word, it definitely just kind of just I don't know. I don't think people want to hear that all the time. But again, like you
Fucking
said, it has
literally.
an impact when it's part of the punchline or it's a key point of the joke where it really drives the point home. Then you can really utilize it in a good way. But yeah,
Yeah.
very few swears in my set, but definitely I think especially locally, I think my stuff is pretty edgy. I think so.
All right, well, fucking it. Next to the fucking question. What's some of your? I didn't say we couldn't curse on here. That's about stand-up comedians. Usually, I'm the clean one on here.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
what are some of your favorite venues, man? I know you've been pretty well traveled lately. Also, do you get out of Florida? What are some of your favorite places you've been?
Yeah, so I've been trying to get out nationally as much as possible. But obviously, Laughing County Cafe is my favorite, is my home club and I think the best club in Southwest Florida. But I've
I
traveled
love
out
the
to
new
California.
renovations. I love the new
Yeah,
renovations.
it's been awesome. They've changed up a little bit, changed the stage, the location. It's been really great. I've been fortunate enough to travel to like California. I've done shows in Los Angeles a few times at the Ice House, which is a famous club out there, and that's been like terrific. All those shows. And I did the Comedy Store in La Jolla, which is like near San Diego, the sister club of the Hollywood Comedy Store, and that was probably the site of probably one of my best sets I've ever had in my life. And that was a lot of fun. Done shows in Rhode Island, Las Vegas, a lot of different places all around Florida. So
Oh, very nice. Well, nice to hear some of those places. You've gone to several, I would say countries. I'm smart. States. Uh,
yeah.
what was some? I know you've worked with. I mentioned to you before that one of my first passion began. Real strong passion was actually watching Last Comic Standing and seeing Dat Fan, who was my personal favorite. When I know you've
Oh,
worked with
cool.
him. Who are some of your favorite comedians, both on a big level and also who do you just really dig even more on a local level? Like who's some of your favorites around?
Well, nationally, like the bigger names like nationally and stuff like that. I really love Bill Burr. Probably my biggest comedy influences are probably Emo Phillips. Even though he doesn't do stand up, Pee Wee Herman. I love like Pee Wee's Playhouse and the Pee Wee Herman movies. I think he's like a one of a kind performer. And again, also not stand up, but the Kids in the Hall. I don't know if you remember that TV show, The Kids in the
Oh
Hall.
yeah.
They were like my comedy idols, and I think a lot of my sense of humor is in that show. And
You've
then
done work with one of them, haven't you?
yeah, Kevin McDonald,
Right,
one
I'll
of the
do
guys.
Kevin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, one of the founders of the Kids in the Hall. We brought him to Fort Myers a couple of times. He's a super nice guy, down to earth. He's done a couple of sketch comedy workshops in
Mm.
Fort Myers, and I got to perform with him and hang out, and it's been like a lot of fun because yeah, like I was watching them since I was really little, or like I don't know, 10, 11 years old or something like that, and they were really bizarre for their time, And I think that really molded my sense of humor. Like that's the kind of stuff I like. It was dark. It was weird.
You knew you
They
wanted to dress as a woman.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Right. And so that kind of stuff, it really influenced me. So, but like regular stand-up acts, Emo Phillips, Bill Burr, um, people like them, probably my favorites, Louis C.K., stuff like that.
Carrot Top. I got you. I got you.
Not so much.
Well, what's wrong with dude Scott? I think that's his name.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just not really my thing. I mean, obviously he's had a successful and tremendous career, but it's not really my
Carrot,
thing.
just leave Carrot. I was gonna bring you on, but he's not into it.
No. Oh, you said
Um,
carrot. I thought you meant like legume top or something. I thought you said that.
Lagoon Top, or what do you go?
Sorry.
You're a veggie. Who do you like locally? Anyone local come to mind when you're like, oh, that dude always impresses me?
No, just kidding.
I like it. Not at all. No.
No, not really. I do a lot of shows with, two veteran comics that have really been like my mentors, and around here have been Frank Del Pizzo and Christopher Coles. And I try to keep my like network a little bit small, but it has like when I want to, try jokes on people, or like, I ask for like help on a joke, or like, where am I going with this, or blah, blah, blah. I try to like keep that circle small. And they've been two guys that have really given me a lot of good pointers and supported me. Like Frank was there the first night I started comedy. And he's been a big mentor for me, and Christopher Coles. Everyone's doing really well. Everyone's like, a lot of these people are really busting their butts locally. And it's great, like to have all these different, like laughing is so great. Like they give so many people opportunities to
Yeah,
get
I gotta
stage
love
time.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not enough
So I think,
clubs do off the hook. So yeah, yeah.
yeah. And so like, there's a lot of great comics in this area, and I think it's great that like so many people are hustling, because it's actually showing the rest of the state and the rest of the country that there's something going on locally here. And so it's fun to share the stage with everyone. I don't want to leave anyone out, but it's like, yeah, I appreciate everyone. Everyone has something different to offer.
And if he didn't mention you, that just means he hates you. And I think
yeah. Exactly. But because like there's a couple people locally. I've done jokes where after the show they've come up to me and said, I can't believe you did that joke. Like, this happened to me in my life, and you shouldn't be joking about that. So those people
really?
can go fuck themselves. Yeah, those people can go fuck themselves.
Language, Larry.
Oh my God. Is Carrot Top still there? Is he mad at me right now?
No, now he really left the room.
Oh no.
He was just coming back. Now he's gone for real.
No, but otherwise, I think
has that happened to you though? For real? Has that someone been like, oh, that crossed the line for real?
Yeah, and it's amazing because some of the same people that say that joke about things on stage that like it's okay for them to say this.
Yeah.
But then
it's always that argument, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they don't know what I've gone through in my life, or like people in my family, or whatever that maybe the joke is stemming from. And so to tell another comic not to do a joke because it makes you upset or you're offended by it, like it's just like,
especially from a comic, that's pretty not like I can see a fan unfortunately doing it. It's happening to pretty much everyone, but for a comic saying another comic, that one particular joke.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. And because the thing is, none of my jokes come from a place of hate, or they don't come from a place where like I want bad things to happen to people. By no means is that like everything, there's a purpose behind all my jokes. Like, so if I'm talking about something that might be a touchy subject, like there's a reason I'm saying it. Hopefully I'm getting good enough at writing my jokes where you can tell that I'm trying to point out why this is not good.
Absolutely.
Even if I'm joking about it. So, I mean, come on.
The only time it bothers me is when you can tell they're doing it simply for the shock. Like, I'm going to say this and it's going to make you all mad, and that's what's funny. No, that's not really funny to me. But
no, that's not my goal at all. That's not my goal at all. So, yeah. But otherwise, I think it's great. Like, so many people locally are just really, like, busting their butts and doing so well and getting stage time. And, yeah, I wish everyone the best. So.
Probably the most important question I want to ask you, and I've been wondering this for a very long time. How many of those hats do you have? How many different colors? We
Mhm.
just got to know.
I actually have two.
Just
Um,
two?
yeah, they're both gray. One of them has been like retired because it kind of got a little bit worn out because being on stage and wearing this hat takes a lot out of the hat. You know what I
That's
mean?
why I thought you just, I imagined you with a closet of just like, what's
Yeah.
on today.
No, this is actually the second one. Is the exact same one as the old one.
Is it this
Uh,
one? Or is that the old?
uh, that's the one I'm wearing right now. The one at
Okay.
that show. Yeah, yeah. But the reason I wear this hat is because I don't want the the glare of the light shining off my bald head. So it's kind of for the fan, like the audience and the people in the crowd to like not get blinded by my baldness. But also, it's kind of an homage to my grandfather who passed away. Like he used to always wear hats like this.
Mm.
So basically, since I started doing comedy, I started wearing these hats on stage. Before that, I never even really wore them at all. So.
Does it transfer into real life? Are you going to Target in that hat?
Yeah, now I go out a lot in it. So, because you know what? Like, I'm kind of weird. Like, I'm always thinking and always trying to make new content. And so, like, I do that in the car sometimes. I do that in different places. That if I'm like going by it, because I can make a video there about something. Like, I always have to have my hat with me so that this is like my brand. I like to think, and so
I was gonna
I need to have
say,
it on there. And, yeah.
perfect segue into one. But the next thing I was going to talk to you about is, as you said, making content here. Something that I've enjoyed you doing a lot is, quick videos on Facebook, and I think I saw you on TikTok.
Yeah.
What decided to make you decide to, get in that game? Is that something that is part of the brand, or like, what inspired that?
Yeah, I think you have to have a social media presence this day and age, and so without being someone that can be on the road touring all the time, um, it's like this is a way for me to get my comedy or just my thoughts and different things like that out to different people to get like exposure. Like I've done a couple different like formats of like quick videos, whether it's like like one question interviews with different people,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that was kind of like to network with other actors and comedians or athletes and musicians, and
Saw
kind
some
of like
wrestlers.
yeah, wrestler, yeah, and kind of like kind of cross network with those people. So I get out into their networks, they get into mine, and we kind of help each other out. But then a lot of the videos that I do, especially ones for TikTok, are based on my stand-up comedy. Some of them are jokes that I'm working on that I put to video, and so it's kind of like a little bit different. Like I had a video a couple months ago that was like a new joke that I just like I kind of put to video. Oh, hi, hello to your cat. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big fan. Avery's been
Oh,
watching you
yeah,
for years.
yeah. Oh, thank you so much. But yeah, I did a video that like in 2 days it got over 9 million views, and
Which one's
and
this?
it was a joke about a bunny.
Okay.
And I don't know if the joke is funny or not. I don't know what happened. Like all like the different things connected where like everything was right with the video because like the algorithms of all these different social media
Mm.
sites, like something hit exactly right and the thing is still being seen. All my new videos are being squashed by the app. It's kind of like I'm not the one, like they don't want people like me being famous on that act, so they're trying to like not have me, like it's almost like they don't want any of my other videos being seen.
Really?
Yeah, it's really weird. Since that, it's been over two
That's
months
weird.
since that video hit. All my videos are like not being seen on the main site of TikTok and stuff like that. So it's really weird. Granted, I've done a couple of videos that were probably inappropriate and taken down. So like that might be part of it. But other than
Larry,
that,
what did you do, Larry?
no. Like if the joke is like a little bit like
Oh, okay.
like something like that, something a little bad. So whatever. But yeah. So
Larry
anyway.
Venturino After Dark, the series. You gotta
Yeah, exactly.
watch out for that. Um,
Yeah.
any interest in like anything else? Like you mentioned sketch before, did some sketch classes. Any interest in sketch or acting or anything?
Yeah, but actually, I've kind of been thinking about like getting more into acting. I've done a couple little things and extra things, but I really like sketch comedy as well. I liked the whole writing process of sketch comedy. I've tried improv. I'm not good at improv at all. But what Kevin McDonald from the Kids in the Hall teaches in his class is like using improv to write your own sketches. And so it's kind of like a kind of a cool technique that the Kids in the Hall used. And like, so that whole process and working with him and other people when he came to town was a cool way to like kind of write your own sketches and everything. So that's fun. But acting is, I've done a few things and it's like, and I don't know if it's completely my thing. I mean, I'm sure I'm not good enough to do it, but like just being on set and stuff like that is pretty grueling. These people like put
That's
a
long
lot
hours.
of, yeah, and it's really a lot of work. So I'm not entirely sure that I want to do that, but like, and I might be more interested in trying some more things, in the future.
So here's a question for you. A kid comes up to you after a show and goes, Mr. Larry, I loved you and I'm so inspired. I want to get into comedy. What do you tell them? They're looking for advice. What advice do you give?
Well, I think the advice that I would give someone like starting out is basically to just start writing, start trying to find your voice, which it doesn't happen overnight. You have to kind of write and come up with your own things, use your own life experiences, make that funny, and learn to find your voice, which probably comes over the maybe like a couple of years. It takes a while to really find who you are and what you're trying to say. A lot of times, in my opinion, also my advice too is to work out your jokes and um, not to pretend that you're at a level that you're not at. And I say this all the time, but I've seen a lot of people say that they could feature when they haven't,
Alrighty.
like when they don't have enough time to feature, so they go on stage and they kind of eat it, and and they're telling these clubs they can do this because they want to be in that spot, but it's actually harming them because once they go up there and they say they can do this, and you fall flat on your face, they're not asking you back. It's the same thing. People rush to like headline, and I've seen people like be all over the country, like headlining their own shows, like in all these different clubs. But the thing is, I haven't seen them back in those places because somehow they got their feet in the door, but then they told people they were at this level and they're not being asked back. So just work really hard, take your 5 minutes, get 5 minutes and expand on that and tweak things and see what works. And that's the best way, just to build on it. And just don't, just don't think you're somewhere, like don't rush to be somewhere where you're not there yet, because it's only going to hurt you. And it's not a bad thing that you only have 7 minutes. Make that 7 minutes as tight as possible and then move on, you know?
No, I
So,
think that's really strong, good advice here, man. Yeah, because it is true. Like you'll see people, think they're ready for feature, and then, like you said, it takes a long time for them to
yeah,
gain that trust back if they fail at it, and they're not ready.
right.
I
Yeah.
personally, I'm almost at a tight 4, so I'm almost there.
Oh, come on. I've seen you several times. You're very good. So,
Thank you. Okay, tight 6.5. I'll take it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, where do you see yourself in 5 years, man? You're still in Florida. You're hoping to travel more. Your own Emmy-nominated show. What are you looking at?
Yeah. Like
The
I
remake of
definitely want.
Elf that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm not that tall. I'm not the tallest person, but I don't think I could play Alf. They talked about a reboot a couple of years ago, but I guess that got canceled. So I guess that's
What do you
out
mean
of
you
the
can't play
question.
Alf? You just do the voice. Alf's not a real creature. What do you
Well,
mean you
there
can't
wasn't
play Alf?
there. Well, that's kind of like there's conflicting stories about that, because yeah, Peter Fusco did the voice of Alf, but there was actually somebody in the costume as well at different points, and he
Oh.
actually passed away in 2018. But then I've also read that it was like a robot, but they
I
there
gotta
was a
imagine
little person.
if they do it now, it's gonna be more like the movie Ted.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But yeah, like 5 years ago, I just try to keep on expanding, and trying to reach out more to like be able to do shows in more areas, and I definitely want to travel more, and get out to as many clubs and places as possible, and obviously, start headlining eventually and stuff like that. But like all in, because I'm basically just been featuring the last few years, and which is great and stuff like that. But I kind of want to try to, that's been a goal of mine, and just want to prove myself that I can do it, and then get out to as many clubs and states as possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's find some more places in Naples. I want to get some more Naples shows going.
I know. I wish there was. I wish there was a good place in Naples, but nope. So
I'll make it happen. I've been saying that for 5 years, but I'll just
yeah,
still keep trying to make it
yeah.
happen here, man. Usually at this point too, I would just say any plugs for upcoming events, but that's hard to nail down right now. Anything in your living room we can attend anytime soon?
Yeah, I know. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I did a live event for my bathtub, which I thought went pretty well for it being me and being in my bathtub.
Was it on
Uh,
your OnlyFans account? Or we had to,
yeah, yeah, it was on that. Yeah, so it was like I think it was like 37 cents. All you had to do is pay the membership fee, and then you were on it. No, but yeah, like everything's canceled. Hopefully things get a little bit better. We can start booking shows again. I do have shows booked for later this year, and hopefully those don't get canceled. But yeah, I mean, nothing really to promote right now. If there's, like I'm on Instagram and Facebook and all those stupid things, but like, so I'm always, if I do like a live event, like on social media, I definitely try to like even promote that to see if anyone's interested in watching that. Cause I've done, like I said, I did a couple of weeks ago. I tried to try out some new jokes, whether people knew that or not, or they thought it was funny, I'm not sure. But like, and I've also done, I think I do have an upcoming show with Dat Fan on his. He's been doing like these live streaming shows with like probably like 8 or 9 comics. He does like open mic, like private open mics, but then we've been doing these like live streaming ones online. So I did one, I think a week and a half ago or something, and then I think I have one on May 9th. I'm gonna be doing one, so it's basically set up in my house and do my 5 or 10 minutes, and then that's the show. They do like an hour show, and everyone gets like 5-10 minutes.
Is that awkward at all doing that?
It's a little awkward because you don't have like the kickback from like the crowd,
Yeah.
but it's on Zoom, and there's several other comics, and you can hear them laughing. So if you make
Okay.
them laugh, I think it's been pretty good, and it's like I've been doing it long enough where like if I don't get a laugh on something, it doesn't devastate me, and I learned how to turn that around to hopefully make that funny as well. So
That's
that's
good.
like when it gets really awkward on Zoom, like I just kind of turn it on to like whatever, make it something funny from there.
That's good. It took me a minute, man. I did a closed competition one time, and just like the coaches are purposely trying not to laugh, and that messed with me hard.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's interesting when you're doing it with no laughs.
right, right.
Purposely
But
no laughs.
yeah, but it makes you stronger because again, if you can get through this,
Mhm.
you can learn how to pace yourself and deliver your jokes how you're supposed to deliver them. Even if you don't get the response that you're looking for, you stay calm and just keep on doing your show because like you've probably experienced, you can do a show and do all this material and people love you. And then the next show with the same exact material,
Mm.
no one's into it. And you got
What
to just go,
happened? You guys
yeah,
loved it last time. That
yeah.
killed.
Well, everyone's different, and sometimes just people aren't into you. So like you have to learn how to not let that bother you. So, which is weird because like if I'm having a really good show and I feel really good, like people are really into my material, but then there's one person that doesn't like it, then I'm like devastated that one person doesn't like it. So it's always like you always want to feel awful about something, I guess.
Yeah, you'll find a reason. It'll be like, oh, that one guy he just never
Yeah.
smiled.
but you know what? Like that's one thing I'm proud of. Like I also advise people too. Like you don't don't surround yourself with people that just tell you you're doing awesome, because that's not going to help you grow as a
Mm.
comic either. Like that's one thing I want people to tell me that was terrible, or like that joke's not funny, or whatever. Like
Oh, I can
you
tell you that now. Okay, so Larry, seriously, half of your
yeah, no, that's totally fine. Like, oh, you went too fast. Like, you need to slow down your set. like that's stuff that you need to hear. Like,
I'm still
or
getting
you're
over
gonna be
the
stuck.
fasting.
What? What do you say?
I'm still getting over the fasting. I get told the fasting a lot.
Yeah, just yeah, you just gotta take your time and the thing is, 'cause like if you don't get a laugh right away, sometimes these people like in the audience, like if they've been drinking or whatever, sometimes it takes a second for them to get that joke. So don't rush into the next part because that extra few seconds sets in, and then you'll hear the laughters out of that. So you just gotta be patient.
Takes a second for the brain to buffer sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly.
All right, Larry. Well, man, it's been a joy chit chatting with you, man. Any other words for the millions watching this? It won't say millions on the counter, but just trust me,
Oh,
it's cute, as you said.
you promised there would be millions, I thought.
No, there
But
is. I'm just saying YouTube will show you like it's not millions, but
oh
just
yeah,
trust me, algorithm and
yeah.
all those other fancy words.
No, I totally believe you and stuff like that. Well, no, I appreciate you having me on. I've always supported your comedy and in Real Pro Wrestling. I love your Real Pro Wrestling. I like you were
When will
mad
your
at me because
kids
I hadn't been
debut?
in
Come
Real.
on, El Fuego, the kids. Come on, they got to debut.
Dude, I've been trying to get them to become wrestlers and stuff like, um, but I don't know if they really want to. Like, they've trained a couple of times with Cy there, but or went over there and screwed around for a little bit. But no, I really like what you're doing with that. Unfortunately, all this stuff is happening, so I'm sure you guys are been hit hard too. But
Yeah,
it's
we would have had probably 4 shows by now. Other than
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I love pro wrestling at every level and everything like that. So I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate you having me on as well. As well. So yeah, here you go.
Absolutely, man. All right, it was a pleasure chit chatting with you, man. We'll do it again sometime.
All right,
As
sounds
you
good.
said, check him out online, guys. When the Laughing's back up, check out Laughing and Fort Myers if you're in the area.
Mm.
Always a great show. And guys, thank you so much for checking out Comics Corner. And Larry, I love you more than you'll ever know.
Oh, thank you. I love you too. Thank you, man.
You heard it. He loves me.